So what is the difference between an Adolf Hitler and Mahatma Gandhi? His values. Because, you see, like in my questioning leadership, I asked if leadership is simply influence, then Adolf Hitler had influence. Naira Marley has influence in this country. Is that not? But that's not leader. That's not a leader to me. Because his values are wrong. Do you get it? Because leadership is, listen to me, leadership is a capacity. Because, so that you don't think that you are not a leader, it's a capacity, meaning anybody can develop the capacity through learning and practice. It's a capacity. It's that capacity to create positive change. I told them in church today, no power, no change. And when I said that, don't think of political office. The symbols of power can be a position of authority, yes, but it can be financial, financial power, it can be expert power in terms of what you know. It can be people power, social capital. It can be power of force, military power, might. If we are lost in the dark and you know the way, you are our leader. We will all humbly follow you or be lost. So, thank you. My slide is on. So, go to the next slide. I think I've done the next slide. Leadership is a capacity to create positive change. What's going on in the country right now? What is it asking of us? So there is the political change that we want to happen for us as a country. Okay? But then there should be the personal change that you are involved in on a daily basis. And that's leadership. God's plan for us is dominion. God's purpose. God wants us to lead a life where his will is fully evident in our life. And what is God's will for us spiritually? Righteousness. What is God's will for us mentally? Knowledge. That is wisdom. What's God's will for us emotionally, in relationship? Love. What's God's will for us physically? Divine health. What's God's will for us materially? Wealth. Abundance. But to achieve this, God shows us the way, the how. The only way is leadership. If you read the Bible, it says, be fruitful. 5 steps of leadership. Be fruitful. How can you be fruitful? Turn your potential abilities to results. You can't produce fruit if you don't have seed. God deposits seed in us. But he says, turn it into a fruit. That's personal leadership. If you can lead yourself well, you will be fruitful. Is that not? Then he says, multiply. Which means, so please go to the next slide because I think I'm moving fast. Okay? I already said that everyone has the ability to develop that capacity called leadership. So no capacity, no positive change. Okay? Go to the next slide. So I shared with you there the levels of leadership. It says be fruitful. You must lead yourself well first. Then it says multiply. You cannot multiply by yourself. You will need another person. 1 times 1. You mean that? Okay? So you cannot multiply by yourself. You can't even have a baby by yourself. Do you understand? If you kiss yourself, it's not interesting. Do you understand? So when you master personal leadership, be fruitful. Then it says multiply, which means lead others. Lead yourself first, lead others. So find a way to influence others. Then be going as I'm speaking. I hope you are listening to what I'm training so that you. And that level is the interpersonal between us, influencing another person. Okay? Then it says, and then replenish. Put back what's missing there. And you cannot do so except you lead through systems. I'm just analyzing this, then I'll go and focus on personal leadership and give you the details of it, okay? So the third level is organizational leadership. So look at these three levels. If you can lead yourself well and you can work well with other people and then you understand how to use systems, organizational leadership is the level of management in systems. Do you understand? And he says to replenish. To replenish. Then the fourth one, he says to subdue. Subdue. This is different from the interpersonal. In the personal, you get along with people, but here you are leading through people, which means I want to influence this man, but I'm not doing so directly. I'm not in direct contact with this man. I'm in contact with a team. I told you the other day that those who produce by themselves cannot be compared to those who produce through other people. At this, it's mentoring, coaching. I told you players play the game. The coach plays the players. So if you don't develop transpersonal leadership, you cannot subdue. And finally, it's transgenerational, where you establish a culture of leadership such that, and here you have legacy. In your absence, people naturally take or naturally assume leadership as a way of life. The cultures where you are raised. You know, the Bible says something. It says the rich answers what? Roughly. It says the poor uses what? Entreaties. It's a cultural thing. Okay, so these are just the 5 levels of leadership, which is number 1, lead yourself. Number 2, lead others. Number 3, lead systems. Number 4, lead leaders. Number 5, lead the culture. The culture. In this country, for example, we have a culture of corruption. Do you know that? Culture is the highest form of dominion. It's the highest manifestation of dominion. So, go to my next slide. Stop here. Stop here. So now I want to pick the first and the most important level of leadership and deal with it, which is personal leadership. How to lead yourself. So the question is, what to do to lead myself? I already told you that all you need to understand, you see that 5 level I showed you, don't go back to it, please. I just want to illustrate. The 5 levels I showed you about leadership. Now, these 5 levels, I told you leadership is 3 dimensions. There are values of leadership. At the personal level, the value is integrity. The skill is self-control. But the principle is, if you can't lead yourself, you cannot be effective in leadership. So, where do you get the principles from? In the study of leadership, principles or knowledge, they are acquired, right? Values are not acquired, they are cultivated. See, my teaching will not transfer a value to you. It will only make you aware of the value. I can't teach you long enough about integrity, then you suddenly become a person of integrity because of the teaching. No. Values cannot be transferred through teaching. You are the one who has the right to cultivate that value to, catch it. Values can be caught. Principles can be taught. So when I'm teaching you, the principle of personal leadership is this. Without personal leadership, forget about any other kind of leadership. That's the principle. It's a fundamental law. And Bible corroborates it. If you look at scripture, Jesus said, you can't even remove the mote in someone's eyes until you first remove the beam that is in your own eyes. He said, judge yourself that you be not judged. He's not talking about condemnation, self-assessment. Often, you cannot give what you don't have. So it's you first. Those who seek liberty in society must first be free personally. Otherwise, they will make you offer and take you away from the road. So just like, you see, protests should become organized, and it requires leadership. 90-something% of problems in society can be traced to the absence of fathers at home. It's a leadership issue. It's not even the presence of a physiological man. It's his leadership contribution, because some are dead just there, not knowing why they are there. So leadership is the only way. It's the only way I hope that that bonds into your subconscious, because if that happens, you begin to cultivate the values. It will cost, but over time you'll be recognized as a person of integrity. Okay? Then, self-control. So the value at the personal level of leadership is integrity. The principle is you cannot grow in leadership unless you lead yourself. But the skill is self-control. Self-control. So, 3 things are necessary for you to lead yourself personally. The first is what I call personal power. Personal power. And let me tell you what I mean by personal power. You see, okay, when we were in school, they taught us something. They said, where there is stimulus, there will be what? Response, right? Action and reaction. So many of us, I want to explore this personal power. Many of us lack, there are 2 kinds of people. Those who have victim mentality. Why do they have victim mentality? They think they are already determined. They think that, why are you like this? We hear their language, you say, why are you like this? It's in our family. Why are you like this? You see, when you see a beggar on the street, it's good to have compassion for them, but not everybody who's in that condition that is begging. Did you hear what I just said? Huh? So look, there's this theory of what we call genetic determinism, like, because I am so. For example, you can have a family where people are physically big, okay, and therefore prone to certain diseases like diabetes and all of that. It doesn't mean you must die like that. Now, this is a genetic condition. But between stimulus and response, it's not a seamless transition that because this thing is in your genealogy, this must be your destiny. No. As humans, this is why we're not animals. Between stimulus and response, there's a space that you must explore. In that space is our freedom to choose our response. If I go to this man now and slap him, his natural tendency emotionally will be to fight back, right? But between the slap and his reaction is a place where he can process. Now, if you don't explore that space, the more you use it, the broader it becomes. Okay? That's your personal power, which means the ability to choose your response, irrespective of the kind of thing that come upon you. Somebody can sit you down and abuse you. So it can be genetic determinism, it can be psychic determinism. Maybe you are raised by angry people or people who talked you down. It can happen. Does that mean you should continually carry your head like a slave? No. Not everybody will continue like that. The one who empowers himself believes that he can choose a different action. Meaning he can respond differently to this same situation that may be an excuse for someone. I've not gone to school. There was nobody to train me because I'm a woman. So whether it is genetic determinism or psychic determinism or even social-cultural determinism, there's a social script. The fact that you're in this society, there are certain boundaries in our culture. A few days ago, I saw on social media somebody was saying that we must end this thing. That women also need the right to be able to give their daughters out in marriage without without talking to the man. You know, if you look at, I'm not on any side, but let me say something to you. Those people who respond in anger to some wrong that has been done to them, usually bounce to the other extreme. Some women have bad experiences from men. They end up being what they call feminists, who is the beauty of both sides. They victimize the side that has offended them. This response is wrong. You have become a product of what happened to you, really. So, your personal power is your freedom to choose. So, between stimulus and response is a space. In that space is our right to choose our response. In those choices lies our happiness and fulfillment. And like Sean rightly said, we are a product of all the decisions that we make. But what is influencing those decisions? Is it our fears influencing those decisions? Is it our guilt influencing those decisions? So, personal power is a component, is the primary and first component of personal leadership. Personal power. The second component will be personal vision. Only somebody who can allow himself to make choices can really think of himself in terms of possibilities. So personal vision. Let me tell you what I mean by personal vision. If you are free to think, if you are not a victim in your mind, the Bible says, I put before you blessings and curse. But he encourages you to choose the blessing so that it will affect you and your generation, so that you and your offspring, your children, will live. The Bible is the greatest book for leaders. Don't look at it. People go to the Bible only from, for example, talking about personal power. Many people have not even empowered themselves beyond the religious blocks. So you can never show them anything inside the Bible outside what they have been raised. Outside how they have been raised. And they even go trying to justify God in some ways. I mean it. They are trying to help God in some ways. So when they read the scripture and see somewhere like an evil spirit from the Lord troubled Saul. Is it not troubling? Okay. Or you say God killed Uzzah. You know when they were coming back with the ark? And they got to the threshing floor of Aruna, and the ark stripped, and Uzzah tried to help the ark, and the anger of the Lord was fierce and killed. So God killed. You either excuse God if they have the theology that is so good. Know him as a God of anger who nobody can ask and he can do anything. You know. So you must go with an open mind. Let the Bible teach you rather than go there with preconditioning from. If revelation is progressive, it should be that what we have been taught many years should help us see better now, rather than for us to just be stuck there. So if you don't empower yourself by believing that you can never be a leader. That's my point in terms of personal power. No matter what I say to you, if you don't empower yourself by believing that you can, because that belief that you can is self-power. Personal leadership begins from there. You see, life is like, I think I told you this story when I was training you guys, that if you study all great stories, they go through the same loop, all great stories. If you watch a movie, it starts with the hero starts as an innocent victim. So there's the stage in our life where you don't know what you don't know. We call it unconscious incompetence. You don't know what you don't know. And then you meet troubles of life. Everybody will meet them. They are our wake-up calls. You encounter a problem. How you approach this problem that you encounter, the guy who does not empower himself says, I can't. This is why I should be this way. He remains that way. So I told you a story about two guys who had a drunk father. And one ended up a drunk, the other ended up not being a drunk. So why is that so? This guy said, when I saw my father, I decided I will never be that. That's me. My father was my first source of motivation. And it was not by what he preached or said. It's by who I saw him to be that I swore never to be. He had us 8. At the tender age of 5, had given us over to anybody who cares. I didn't see my father up to 4 times in all of my life before he died. And it took us from Onitsha, where I was born, not to worry here, to a village. So my question is, who gives their child off to be taken from a city to the village? Somewhere inside the sea, one place they call Ugula, if you know, deep inside the sea. At the time, there was no road, no schools. Primary school I attended, we sat on timbers. So it didn't mean anything to him. This is what I'm saying, the problem with father. It didn't mean anything to him wherever we went. And all the while we stayed there, we stayed only once. As a matter of fact, when they wanted to take me to secondary school and it was a boarding house, they took me to see him. That was about the second time I was going to see him. They took me to see him. He had to consult Oracle to see, that is his contribution, to see whether I will go and come back. If he had said I will not come back, that school is cancelled. But thank God. You know, So there's that stage where someone is responsible for you and certain things happen to you. But at the point you must wake up and begin to make choices, make decisions. But it must start from you first. Personal power, knowing that you are not a victim. Your language will change. It will change. When you encounter a problem, you are trying to seek how to solve it. Not that you see you'll be thinking everybody is unreasonable, not understanding why you are like this. And to you, it will make sense to you, but that's what will keep you there. When you work in an organization, there are people who feel like, my manager is just so hard, he doesn't listen to me. No. He's trying to change that mentality. That victimhood mentality that you have. Some people don't want any kind of stretching. No. They fight. So personal power. And if you have personal power, you can picture possibilities in your life. That's personal vision. You can picture possibilities. And in these 5 priorities of life, what is the ideal you are pursuing spiritually for your life? What is the ideal you are pursuing professionally for your life? What is the ideal you are pursuing relationship for your life? What is the ideal that you're pursuing physically for your life? What is the ideal you are pursuing financially for your life? This is a personal vision. There was one time in our church, I told them, go home and write 10 years from now, describe a day in your life. It was difficult. Nobody could. Well, a few people really. People couldn't sit down. And for some of them, they would write things they did not even believe. Do you understand? So, personal vision is the second building block for personal leadership. And the third is, so when you have personal power and you can picture possibilities in your life, now you can manage priorities based on those possibilities. Personal management, daily discipline. These are the 3 components of personal leadership. You don't need the government to do that for you. You don't need any other person's permission. Well, I'll come back and show you more about this. But let's go to the next slide. Circle of influence. Number 1, you would have peace when you know the things that are not in your control and the things that are in your control. And to focus on those things that are within your control. You say, we are concerned about the rain. What can we do about it? You are concerned about your crazy uncle. What can you do about it? That is another person. The person that God gave you 100% control over is you. Do you get it? So you must know, because you must, if it leads to frustration when you are trying to exercise influence over things that are outside of your control. I told them in church, I cannot, just like I'm saying to you, I cannot change anybody here. I can provide for you opportunities for change. That you will change, that is in your own domain. Do you know? So, otherwise, there are some very well-intentioned, good men of God, like pastors, who kill themselves over the flock. And when this flock finish killing you, they check out to the next victim. And is it wrong to have compassion? It's not wrong. But when you have you see, there's the way you want the world to be, but there's the way the world is. And unless you're very realistic, you can live in frustration. When I started church, this is my concern. You see, some people, one of the problems most people who are building their dream have is wrong expectation. I told a young man, I said, hey. Grew up in the same ministry. When we started, I started from my living room. And he's out there looking for some porch place. I said, God, you know your problem? You're assessing you came into that ministry when it's established. And you are using that picture. What you should measure yourself by is when that ministry started. Do you understand what I mean? So you are in a particular place. The company is porch. You have AC and everything. Then you say, God give you a dream to go and start your home. You want to start like that. You don't know how they got there. So this unrealistic expectation will cause frustration. Because that's your circle of concern, but it's not your circle of influence. Inside the circle of concern is your circle of control. Because you have influence, which is the circle of influence. You have influence over only the things you have control over, not just the things you have concerns over. So, what do you have control over? You. It's you have control over. It's you. The people will just send me text message midnight. I'll just read it like this and sleep. One just called me recently, sent me text, said, Pastor, I woke up, I saw one bird was flying. Now, this, what does it mean? I just read that, okay, I slept. You want to give me your problem? You understand? Why are you killing yourself? So focus. So if I stood before 3 people preaching on my first service, I'm a success. Do you understand what I mean? And do my best with these people. Because most of them that have what they call inaugural, I don't have all those things. They say inaugural service. You go and find one notable man of God, rent one big space. The first day, everybody will be filled up. All these are your friends. They will go next Sunday. Why those problems? What are you trying to? Who are you impressing? It's unnecessary. Build your life. When you are at stage 2, stage 3 is progress. You want to jump to it. Because each step is the platform for the next. Give me the next slide. So, I told you, we all did this in school. So, there are things that happen to us, and the things that happen to us, they create in us certain, or they push us towards certain response. Have you seen a new baby born that is angry? So these are learned behaviors. Are you following what I'm saying? You see a new baby born, I'm not agree, I'm not going to agree. No. No. So don't say, this is the way I am. You made yourself so. And you can unlearn that bad behavior by applying your personal power. You see, when there's no space between you see the second part, there's the space. When there's no space between the two, anything that triggers you here, some people are so touchy. Anything that touches you here, it will just, when I was doing the leadership training, I told them that there are certain people, when they come into an environment, maybe in a work environment that is very organized, they hide their bad behavior, but it's for a while. When somebody say, today you want to talk to the boss, that is, you want to show them. You say, Madam, may I just tell you my mind? As you see me so, that's the real person. That's where they are in their development. The Bible says if you faint in the day of adversity, let me tell you what character is. Your character is the values you uphold during a test. So it's test. That is the proof of your character, not your words. What you will do when you could have done otherwise. Because as humans, we all have the same promptings. Is that not true? Someone asked me, humans, are they good or bad? Humans are humans. Can be good, can be. So it's the right people that are assets, not the wrong people. Wrong people are basically liabilities. When you have around you people that can manage themselves, life is easy. People who can lead themselves effectively are personally empowered. They know they are not victims. And if you help such people, only somebody who knows not a victim that you can help to catch a personal vision. The guy who's a victim cannot picture possibilities. He can, because the lack of personal power will not allow him to picture possibilities. You can be inspired by someone you saw and say, I can be that. That you think so means you empowered yourself. So if you look at it, all behaviors are learned can be unlearned. So it's just justification or excuse. This is the way I am. This is the way I am. And allow yourself, see, look, perfection is an illusion. We're all improving. We're all improving. This man is a leader in our church. And I met him several years back. He's been with me for a very long time. He too can tell. Initially when I preach, I used to, I'm angry. Angry preacher. Impatient with people's fault. Very judgmental. If I give you my opinion, in my heart, it's the opinion of God. And many of them failed. See, look, no, it's God's opinion. You know why? I have the tendency to really, really think a thing through. And then think in my heart that nobody can think it better. You see, no, if you are opinionated, you're like that. To know that you are like that is freedom. Because you would watch it. Not to know is the problem. Because if somebody says it to you, what you can't say to yourself, somebody says it to you, it's defense. They don't understand. That's people who think that everybody's ganging up against them. I have met people at different pockets of relationship. I met this one at work, met this one at home, met this one, and they said the same thing about me. Is it not true? What are you justifying? Unless your drive is not to be the best of you. So the second situation is there's stimulus, but it doesn't lead to response. There's a space to make new choices. You came from a poor family, your life doesn't have to end up in poverty. So what do I need to do now? Not to become a thief. Many people are successful because poverty is their drive. The people who have accumulated money. So what happens is this: they got the money, they become less than human. Do you know what it means? Because if you are looking at your life holistically, spiritually, there are ideals you want that you see as possibilities. I want to go down with a good conscience. So you pursue the 5 priorities, you pursue one at the expense of the others. Let me tell you, the human spirit cannot invest itself in a compromise. If you stole, even if nobody caught you, your soul knows that it will not join you to rejoice. Do you understand what I mean? So you must make up your mind, who do you want to be at the twilight of your years? What's the kind of person you want to be at 60, 70? And because it's a long journey, it's easy to take it one step at a time. I don't know where you're going to. You get it? So you come from poverty, you don't want poverty. What do I need to do? Learn new things, practice new skills, have new associations. I'm telling you. You will transition. You see, the last time I came here, Madam Fama was sharing her story. And I realized that, you think, okay, I'm here to facilitate. You think I'm the one teaching you? We are growing. Do you understand? We're growing. And what you need to do is don't quit, because some people may get tired on the way and stop. Jesus told the story about the sower who sowed seed, some fell by the wayside and blah, 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 blah. Some people, and he told us the 4 distractions. One didn't have understanding. Another one felt the process was too slow. And on and on. So you set off on your own journey in life. Look, I've seen it in my own life. You can be 5 kids, 6 kids from the same family. When I made a decision to walk a certain path, many years ago, today if you see me and my immediate younger brother, or my elder brother is a member of my church, he knows that. People have said it over and over. When you meet me and you meet my relatives, you'll be wondering, what are choices? Choices. The things I committed myself to. When I got into secondary school, I got to boarding house. I didn't know what a pajamas was. Pajamas. I didn't know what it was. So when they were telling story and they mentioned that, I act like I knew. Because I came from the village. We don't speak English. The only English we speak in primary school is Esa, Esa. And that means excuse, sir. We don't speak English. Village school, sat on concrete. And to make matters worse, once I was through with that place that nobody was teaching in the first place, I grew up in a brothel. My parents, my guardians ran a brothel where prostitutes live. Music, since I was picking bottles and serving people at a young age. But there, people, I will lie down on my bed. They will be telling, I like to talk. They'll be telling stories. I can't open my mouth. How can I speak English? I have plenty of stories, but no means to communicate. You know, I've been looking at these guys. They came from different sets of homes. And as a matter of fact, they admired me because I had experiences they used to see in movies. Because we were doing the real movie. They were watching TV, you know. So, but I dared to join. Gradually. When I would come home on holidays, I became a star in the village. They'll gather me, I'll be telling them stories and lie, the things that did not happen. You know, you want to impress. You're laughing because you are like that too. Okay, so but choices that you are more than this, that the environment cannot limit you. And as you continue, you will see that as you make these choices, you will find that you would be discovering your power, that I can make choices. Oh, I can make choices. Gradually, the space is becoming bigger. And your ability to believe is becoming stronger. Some of us, you know what we have learned? Is how to learn. It's not that we don't have the information, but we know how to learn. That don't worry, I'll get into the thing, I'll find my way. When you enter, you know, this person is talking to you, you are learning. This person is not only book, people is talking to you, you are learning. You are learning. They don't even know what they are. Somebody can give you information that you can use better than him because of your leadership. Next slide. So personal power is where he begins. And I tell you, your language shows whether you're a victim. So next, I said, is personal vision. So you must envision yourself. Man is a spirit. Thessalonians 5:23. That he may sanctify you wholly, your body, soul, and spirit. Man is a spirit. He lives in a body. And in this physical earth. So I put earth there. So spirit, soul, body, and earth. So what is a personal vision? Is a picture of your ideal self. What we call self-image runs your life. You are acting how you perceive yourself. If I give this mic now to somebody, I say, hey, please, can you come and tell us what you know? There's somebody who just come up like this. Not that he has all the information, but he's confident. There's another person who may even know it and be chickening out. Your personal vision, and I already showed you. Man is a spirit, so your life is 5 aspects: spiritual, mental. In the mental aspect of your life is your professional development, because it's your mind you use to do your work. Do you get that? What would you specialize in? What are you known for? What will be your contribution? The emotional / social. The emotional development of your life with yourself, you can say emotional, with others is social. There are social skills. You can lose your children if you don't know how to relate with them. When they are stuck with you, they will listen to you. One of the questions I always ask myself is, when my child is grown enough to leave me, can he or she come back to ask me my thoughts on their own? When they can make decisions by themselves, can they still see you as a resource? Because then it will not be because you are father, it will be because they respect your mind. So go to the next slide. I hope we're going to also take questions. Okay, because I'm trying to cover all of my slides. So positive personal change, I said spiritual. And they've done a good job for me, but I never get tired re-emphasizing this. Your faith. Your faith. So in the secular perspective, they will tell you your worldview. Your belief system runs your life. Today in America, Trump nominated American politics, and it happens everywhere. Look, no matter the political office you give a person, his belief system will supersede. Do you understand? So in America, for example, you have the left and right ideologies of politics. The left ideology of politics is what they call the liberal Democrats. And the right ideology of politics they call the conservatives, which is the GOP party, the Republican Party. But it's not just left and right, it's a way of thinking. And when they are nominating justice for the Supreme Court, they want to nominate somebody whose belief system supports the policies they would like to uphold at that place. So if the person's ideology is left-leaning, Democrats will want that person there. Like this lady now, Amy Coney Barrett. You know, after they lost one lady, Trump quickly pushed this lady for nomination, and she's gone through several stages of hearing. They were supposed to confirm her last week or so. The Democrats, none of them showed up. But she will pull through. But why? They know this woman is pro-life in her belief system. So, you see, your faith runs your world. Your faith is the most important thing. It is responsible for the other aspects of your life. Whether you know it or not, you believe something. Even the one that does not believe there is a God, that is his belief. That is a belief. And it's such a foolish belief, let me tell you. I don't even need the Bible to prove to you there is God. Wherever there is a design, there must be a designer. Wherever there's a product, there must be a producer. And wherever there's a creation, there must be a creator. Simple logic. So if you tell me that that creator is a manufacturer, so he's man, I want to know who created that one. There must be the one that does not have anybody that created him. That must be God. Otherwise, how did we come to be? That's why the Bible says in Psalm 14, it's a fool that says in his heart there is no God. Because there are too many evidence. God is never trying to convince you. He's presenting the truth to you to choose. God doesn't have time for debate. You don't understand. So as a preacher, it's not our responsibility to prove the truth. So it's to tell it. The truth proves itself. So your spiritual life, next is your faith is important, next is your work. Your work, what's your unique contribution? And I'm not talking about your job. Your job should give you the opportunity to do your work. Your job should give you your opportunity to do your work. And if you're doing a job now that's not yet your work, don't run. Let me tell you the benefit of that. All jobs train you for your work. All. In all jobs, you will deal with superior, you will deal with timeline, all of that train you for your work. And if you don't know what you're doing, you have a problem. You see some of these people who are just so egocentric and say, you see, me, I'm not a regular guy. On guy, I have not touched you. You will know what's necessary. Number 3, your emotional life, which is your relationships. Most important is your spouse. Why do I say that? If you look at this 5 priority, the one that involves another person is number 3. Number 3. And like I asked them when we're doing the training, I asked them that in a company, between work and the people, which one is more important? What do people say? They say it's people, 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 people. So it's a question of the hen and the egg. Which one comes first? Why do you have the people? For the work. If you read in the Bible, God gave Adam first an assignment before relationship. And when he gave him relationship, he told him this relationship is because of the assignment. Help suitable. For what? For the work. People have come into our church and left. If I don't make the church first, I'll have problem. Because the church ensures that we're able to reach more and more people. The same with every company. Do you get it? So when you are then, if you have a path in your life, which is number 2, you have your faith in God and you have found a path in your life, then your relationship should be based on that path. You get married, say, I like it, I knows. You will know yourself. You know, in church, some people, they rush us through when they want to marry, they get hasty. And they'll be backdating it that we have known for 4 years. Okay, you just saw this person from 6 months ago. I have counseled people I was going to, I told them, I said, you know that this marriage is going to have problem? He said yes. I asked him, do you know that this marriage is going to have? He said yes. Go ahead. They said yes. 4 months. I didn't wed them in my church. The girl insisted that I would come and wed them in their father's church. So in the father's hotel. I went there. 4 months. The quarrel, if 4 months is the quarrel, but it started first from the hotel room. She's still my friend till tomorrow. I ran to her. I said, look, I found something on this guy. Somebody told me he says, so what do you do? He says he's a software designer. Be careful with those people. Then, not you, my brother. You know. I said, what do you do? I said, I hear he has this website, and that was the time where this MMM was very popular. I said, these guys, you will pay debt too. She paid debt. You know all the smart, fast guys who are looking for money. They dig into so many things. One did it to me in church recently. I finally went to, he took our money in church, he went to bail him from police station. And very Christian. He's very gentle. Bible says man looks at the outward appearance of things, God looks at the heart. So listen with your eyes, watch people's behavior and make decisions based on what you are seeing, not what they are saying. God knows my intention. Go and make. See me, I'm seeing your action. So relationship. Number 4. Physical, your health. Do you have a picture of you in your 60s and 70s healthy? Do you have it? And finally, finances. So move fast so that I can. What is our source of motivation? For a leader, I told you personal leadership has 3 components: personal power, personal vision, and personal management, which is that daily discipline. Okay, the personal power is your freedom to choose. Your personal vision is the picture of your possibilities. And personal management is daily discipline. Are you with me? Okay. Personal vision is the source of motivation for personal leadership. Why? You know, people always ask me this question. Where do you get your motivation? The picture I see drives me. And let me tell you, most people, what they call vision is an imagination. Second prompt. Any external source of motivation wears off easily. No matter what I do to you here, it will wear off. Unless it is sticking on your own personal vision. External sources of motivation are temporal. Only the motivation that comes from a clear picture of possibilities will keep you going. Meaning that is internal. Give me the next one. Okay, listen to me. Having a vision is imagination. But when the vision has you, it's conception. Are you following what I'm saying? Anybody can see Lagos from here. You can see Singapore from here. When a seed attaches to the woman's womb, A new life has begun. And a vision is a seed. When the vision takes a hold of you, the conviction it produces in you keeps you going. If everybody has a vision, everybody will be motivated. Most people just have desires, wishes that they want. That's why you don't see the commensurate commitment to it. When I worked in the bank for a very short while, I went there because I had been in crisis. My business went very bad. I had a friend who was the manager of FedEx here. We attended the same secondary school, the Fagbogidim. And he has been collecting my CV, telling me that they need an assistant. Oh, God, see. So one day, things were very rough, and I was working in church in missions. So I told him, I said, FSR, this bike guys. An opportunity came. He said, I should look for somebody. I said, look for I will do it. He said, no. He said, he calls me Obi. So, Obi, no, you can't do no now. I said, I call him Edap. I said, I'll do that work. He said, no, just hold on. I know what I'm working. I didn't answer him. I said, I'll do it. I forced it out of him because it's been my old school friend. So I forced it out of him. I didn't know how to ride a bike. When I got to the bank, Mr. Sylvester Kuro asked me, can you ride a bike? I said, yes. No, first of all, when I got to his office and he saw my CV, he said, this one not go stay. I said, sir, I will stay. You have not been hungry. You will stay. I dropped all my ego. I had a relationship with my girl, the lady I'm married to now. I told her, I said, I have to take this job. She said, why? I said, it will tame my ego. Because I had a vision, then I was clear my path. Very clear. Very, very clear. There was crisis in the river. They burnt my bakery down. So many things. I came down. The only thing I had was the house I had rented here. Because after my ND, I went to ministerial college because I knew my path was ministry. Let's not go into my story. But see, I want to pick something for you. When I got there, they said, can you ride the bike? I said, yes. It was Justus that I met there who was doing the job that I took from private coaching. And they didn't know. No, my baker before, where I was working, was an Okada man. So he gave me 1 day training. Then I came here. Because the thing happened as an emergency, and I have to get this job. Oh, my God. And I was respected in church, and this O'Neill. O'Neill is hungry. Now, so the first day, they gave me an assignment to customs to go and drop something. I had built one very fast rapport with them. There's one guy they call Gift. I said, Gift, open the gate. I couldn't, because I could not ride the bike and get to the gate and stop for him to, from far. See, I did like this to him. The way I took it, I was going to kill myself. I ran into the road. One car was coming. I was going to hit. The man abused your father. I was sweating. I drove away from the bank. So the manager was standing outside. He said, stop. We'll stop where? I must deliver this letter. I must deliver. I ran away. I couldn't drive. I was shaking. So I got out of the road. I got to another place. I had to sit down first. So, boy, I will just kill myself now. So I drove only gear 1 that time. You know, you are a bike, but you used to get out of the road for bikes. Because you know you do. I've seen one come out. So anyhow, I went to deliver. It took a long time. I came back. He was angry. Took me to his office. Because nobody wants you to put their job in jeopardy. So what do you mean? There's no insurance on this day, blah, blah, blah. I told him, I said, sir, there's always the first time to anything. He saw my hunger for the work. I'm old. And every time I came back to that office, if any money got to my hand, you see me with book, reading. I knew I was going to leave them. What's the motivation? The picture. The vision had me. It was not a desire. It was not wishing. And no, 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 no. One day, my friend called me to his office. That my childhood friend did that. He called me to his office and asked me that. Because he's always confused about me. His confusion is, what will break this guy? Because I've been there. You know, you can have a friend that is, money is God to them. Money, that is opportunities. They will do anything for it. And I have a kind of esteem he could not break. I know his problem. I was too independent. I related with him still. He was my senior in school. I respected him. One day he invited me to the office. Sat me down. He said, they say you are proud. Are you that know me went to school, staying in boarding house? He said, they say. No, you are the one saying it. You know what I said? I said you should call them. I want to apologize. Because I knew what was happening. They all ran. In the office, we have money for fuel. Because before I got that job in that office, they knew I was coming to his office once in a while when they were here, before they got here and all of that. So when you are coming to an office, as like I'm coming to your office now as your friend, then one day you saw me wear uniform. That person must be desperate. So they were trying to give him, send message to him. He was cutting their money, and I'm the one they were punishing. So that I would talk. I left them for 3 months. When he heard, so why did I not tell him? I said, it's not necessary. But he called me and said, they say I was proud. You don't know me? I said, call them. You know what? I mind my business. I said, where I was living, 4 flats or whatever, they give such complaint. And people want you to just follow them and be, I mind my church, walk home. So I understood what they were saying. I was proud. I said, I will beg. I'm sorry. After I apologized, he saw me out. He was putting his hand on my shoulder and said, you know, these people, they're fake guys. Bro. I said, this guy he does not get me. Why? He doesn't know what could humble me. Because I'm sold out on a path. And there are price to pay on that path. Years later, I had a short time to plan to get out of the job. And I did when it was right to get out. I met him at the bank one day. Sometimes he would test me and say, Obi, borrow me 300,000. Look at this guy. So that day I went to the bank. I just got married and so I got into the bank. I saw him. He suddenly said, I'm looking for you. I said, there's this office, blah, 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 blah. He wants to sell it. He was the manager and running another office, which is contrary to the company's policy. And he had sold it to somebody who was not paying him. Are you with me? He had sold the office to somebody who was not paying him. And here I came. Oh, I want you to learn this lesson. When I got there, in his so-called greedy desperation, he was going to yank it off from that person and sell it to anybody who provided money. What if I didn't have? I was saving now. He asked, he said, see, I want to sell it, blah, blah, blah. So these guys are not ready. I said, let me catch it over the counter. I paid him and got the office. If you see my relationship with him from peaceful till tomorrow, if you see it from outside, you will think that he's doing me favors. No. I outgrew him and no quarrels. He's shocked. When it was time to place him where he's supposed to be in my life, I placed him. If he has any good thing, child dedication, whatever, I send my regards. But he knows he lost a genuine friend for being materialistic. Somebody I used to sleep in there, the father knows me. I went one day to preach at the court. The sister is a judge somewhere. She said, what of your friend? I'm not a child to be talking. No. She suspects something. She was shocked. She has taken me to preach at two adult court and all of that. She respect me. But we've never had crisis. We will not have. Why? You've got a path to walk. If a vision has you, commitment. You come into a place to work. You are busy with stupid. Face your work. Deliver. See, you are better for it when you serve. If you cannot go back to the places you worked, something is wrong with you. If when you see somebody you work with, you will hide. Something is wrong with you. Okay, move on. I trust him. He's the angel of death. Okay, 15 minutes more. Okay. Sense of motivation. Life begins at conception, not birth. So move on. When you catch a vision, just where there is no vision, the Bible says the people perish. So it's talking about discipline. Where there's no vision, the people cast off restraint. Move to the next slide. So I said personal management. We have talked about personal power. We talked about personal vision. Now personal management. Self-management by routine is the key to creating effective habits. So look at it. Listen to me. Management is organizing and executing around priorities. Management is organizing and executing around priorities. Where do those priorities come from? From your vision. Are you following? When you have a clearly defined vision, they become your priorities. When they become your priorities, you manage, which means you are executing and organizing your life around those priorities. So if I look at your daily habits, I can tell what you are going to be down the road. Move to the next slide. Productive habits are the results of daily what? Discipline. Someone who leads themselves well, you will see that they manage themselves well. Is that not true? They manage themselves well. Anytime you find yourself managing someone, they are poor at leading themselves. You know some people, even they have given him 15 minutes, we will still beg him. There's 15 minutes more. You will still beg him. You know, some of us preachers would like to hear our voice. Then you'll be intimidating people that is as the Spirit leads. If the Spirit leads, you shouldn't have had venue or signboard. The Spirit will bring them. There must be structure. So move to the next slide. So these are a few disciplines I want you to inculcate or imbibe in the course of managing yourself. So if you are able to picture possibilities in the 5 areas of your life, spiritually, you must have a structured prayer life and fasting. You must have a structured studying of the word. You must have a discipline of service in the house. And you must be a contributing member of the house, giving. These are spiritual disciplines. It's a proof that your life is well managed on the personal level. Mental or professional. These are the 4 disciplines of the mind. Are you reading anything in your field? Some people, if they write to you, you'll be amazed. Do you know that working in a structured environment is schooling? There's a way to talk. Somebody will know you know what you are doing. There's a way to write. So you must take advantage of all that's happening around you. I often tell them in our church, don't be using abbreviations. It's spoiling you. It's spoiling you. I'm dealing with sophistication. I don't know where you want to go. Reading, thinking. Some people don't know how to think something true. Training, like what we're having right now. So what one area will you be known for in terms of training? This is acquiring specialized skill. That's what training is. And you must learn to speak. Because you must speak to your children, speak in the boardroom, speak somewhere. Do you understand? Communication is the highest skill of life. You must, and daily discipline. I told you when I went to the secondary school, I couldn't. All skills are acquired through practice. All skills are acquired through practice. Even if the skill is being silent, you must be silent to get it. Emotional, social, caring, will learn to, especially if you are like me. You need to have feeling for people. Caring, communicating. You can write them down. Forgiving, very powerful for relationships, both for yourself and for others. Physical, nutrition, exercise, rest, and grooming. That's eating right. If I ask, go home, please, this is an assignment, then please have a schedule for a week. And let me see, then look at which one fits A, B, C, D. If you don't have them, something is wrong. Let me finish with the finance. I want to talk about savings, only that. Because a lot of us work hard, but we don't know how to make the progressive growth. What takes you from point A to B is your ability to accumulate cash. Let me tell you something about liquid cash. Recently, we were going to get a property, and I went to see the place, and far away, Udu. I liked the location, but I didn't like the place. And it's not the price we thought about. I went to see the man, we talked, and I went back. I said, see, when you have cash is king. You can make different choices. Once you turn it into an asset, it's hard. So to turn it back into liquid cash is going to be hard. So it pays when you learn. I don't care whether it's 12,000 naira in your account in the past 6 months, but that you have a progressive discipline pattern. And to help if you run an organization, when it's a system that is not you, it's a system that's doing that. Because step by step, you will walk out of poverty. You will walk out of poverty, step by step. Each year should meet you better financially than the previous, if you are saving. And if you can't lead yourself effectively, you don't have the discipline to follow through your routine. And brother, if you have created the habits, if you have created good habits in different aspects of your life, you are free. God bless you.